So basically it's $2 an hour for 6 kilowatt hours. I don't even know what to do. Another thing I just realized is I forgot my laptop at home. And I can't go back home because I don't have the range to get home and take the laptop. Oh crap. So I'm stuck at the office without my laptop, unbillable basically, while that thing does its job. I swear, this is not a joke. I gotta zoom back home, grab my laptop, maybe get some fuel, and come back. I'm definitely trying to get everything I can out of it, like I have done before in other vehicles, on other YouTube channels. But in this case, it's wearing me out. Okay, so this is 82 miles an hour. You'll see now my range is 18 miles. I'm almost at the halfway mark. Is this convenient? I mean, could you put up with this? Without a range extender, you'd be screwed. That means now I must fill up before I get home, because I wouldn't be able to leave the house to get back to work, or even maybe to the gas station to get home, but to get to work again. Oh. I'm gonna put it in Eco Pro. Wow, and it slowed me down from 80 to 76. It definitely pulled back the power. And I'm at risk of people like that come flying by. Total driving range, 11 miles. Total driving range, 10. Okay, well, I'm gonna treat this situation as a normal car. I'm just gonna go to the next gas station I see and put fuel in it. Again, thanks BMW for paying the tolls today. You're gonna pay twice as many. Oh, and thanks for paying, by the way, the $2 flat rate per hour for a 32-minute charge. That only got me, well, 3 actual miles of range. 8-mile range. Wow, it is counting down. I gotta get off the freeway at the next exit. I gotta go down this ramp over there to that exit, and then there's a Texaco, some station over there I can actually fill up at, and then get back home. 7-mile range. Six-mile range. Okay, there's a Texaco over there. This ought to look like the dumbest thing. Okay, you've seen cars fill up before, you know how this works. You just put the thing in the tank. Tank's up front. Okay, I gotta open the thing with that. 89 occ. What? Anti-knock index 91. Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, that was definitely a Formula One style pit stop, but that begs the question. Because this has a motorcycle engine, does it have the same emissions requirements that EPA puts on regular vehicles? Like, oh, does this thing have a catalytic converter? Does it have, I'm sure it has the same fuel evaporation recovery systems and everything else that's required to, you know, prevent contamination of the environment, right? But, I mean, does the engine really have catalytic converters, and does it do all this emissions regulation stuff? Or is it just like the motorcycle version of it, because it is a motorcycle engine? Are they skirting a few things here? It is confident that I have a 70-mile range because the gas tank is full. So that's the thing that has rescued me today, is this range extender. What I'm gonna do is go home, get the laptop, go back to the office. I'm gonna fast forward all of this stuff. And then when I get to the office, I'm gonna put it on the charger, and it's gonna be on the charger all day. And I'm gonna have a full charge, and well, we'll see how much gas this thing uses. Probably a quarter tank by the time I get back to the office. Here we go. So what I want to know from you is how much of today's problems are my fault versus the car's fault. Obviously, leaving the laptop was my fault, but not being able to get back home on what I had left was the car's fault or mine for not planning properly, even though I had planned to charge it at work and left the laptops. This was not staged. This was actual real life going on. This was reality. I'm just having a hard time figuring this out. Now, this does have auto climate recirculation, but there's a lot of gardening going on today, a lot of dust in the air. I don't even trust it at this point. I'm just going to hit the manual. So I went for manual recirc, and we'll just leave it there until I get out of this gardening area. But those are nice little things to have in a car that will obviously cost a lot of money, but you know, I think the Mini had that I drove last week. The Mini had auto recirc, also a BMW, but not a BMW. I do like that when I'm driving a little aggressively here, there's all this torque and it's just instant on, a lot like a diesel, but there is no gear change, so there's no delay. It's crazy. I know people love Teslas and they're all Tesla fans, but I'm not falling for that. What I'm just saying here is I'm used to diesels and the torque that they provide, and I definitely know that that's an addiction. It's like something it's hard to break from. But in here, I'm getting that same feeling of, yes, it's power and it's mine, and it's all on the control of my foot. It's on tap, but there's no gear change. There's no ZF8 automatic. There's no DCT, dual clutch, anything. It's just go. And I think that's why people like Teslas, because there is none of that interference between the power and the wheels. Because there is no transmission here, that feels good. I'm just gonna say, when I'm in a little aggressive mood, gotta get back to the office. People are driving pretty quickly today. We're doing something in a 45, definitely not 45. You know, I can still weave in and out of lanes. And this car's tiny too. That's why I like having a small car these days. You can just kind of thread through stuff. Not that I advocate that, but it definitely, you know, calls for it when necessary. So getting through traffic in a car like this, it's kind of cool, as long as you're in the comfort mode, which is the default mode anyway. And what I'm finding here is my range still says 75, and I've been driving aggressively with this car. And it's just weird. Like, the more I drive this hard, the more fun I'm having. It's a love-hate thing I'm developing right now with this car, and that's a good thing, actually. Because if you're just, oh, I hate it, I can't stand it, it's terrible, I don't want to drive it anymore, you know, that's not a good thing. But neither is, oh, I love it, nothing can break me from the bond I have with this thing. That's not good. But having this kind of combination of those two in the same inanimate object is quite a weird feeling to have. And right off the bat, I told you I didn't like the look of it. I had misconceptions about it, and I thought it's the king of the commute. But in here, I do feel like the king of the commuter. I feel like I'm doing it better than everyone else, even though the car seems to think that it's better than me because I have to plan around it, which isn't fun. Okay, we'll go back into auto recirc. Back on the freeway now. One downside is I do not have a sunroof. I would love to have a large panoramic sunroof. I don't know why there isn't one. That would be really nice, because you can obviously get a smart car with the retractable top. That's actually a much more attractive car than this. and there is an electric version of it. Obviously, as you get through time into the future, there will be more cars, electric cars with more range, and I'm looking forward to not only great deals on the current electric cars, especially if you don't have to go very far every day. The downside is paying for charging. Anyway, what I'm saying is the way this thing looks on the outside, I think that's their biggest problem. It's a detriment. And it's not fun. Like, if it was a convertible and it was just blasting through traffic with silence, that is mind-blowing enough to go, I want one. But right now, I can't tell you I really want one. Well, this definitely doesn't feel hunkered down like a sports car. Even though it says BMW on there, it has really skinny profile tires. It's got a really high profile. It's all streamlined. It's very weight reduction focused, and because of that, centricities of savings and loss and blah blah blah, what's happening here is I'm getting a car that just does one thing very well, and that is stop and go traffic. Although I can't pick up speed on the freeway here, you have to go over 80 miles an hour to get some sort of stability. It's like an airplane, you know, like you're going to get some turbulence and stuff, and there is the same amount of wind noise at most speeds now, and I can hear it all because there's no engine. But it's a weird experience. I don't know if it's something I would be, you know, like, oh, I can never get out of an electric car anymore. I must always have an electric car because this was such a cool feeling. I'm not getting that. And what I'm getting more is like, oh my God, there's some wind, and I'm barreling down the freeway sometimes. I also find that pushing this thing harder in this range extender mode is that gas engine is really kicking in now. I've never heard it this high with idle. It's just brrr, whereas before it was just kind of bucka 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 bucka. Okay, this time I'm going to park in this spot. Oh, that's right. The cable won't be long enough. And it's on one side of the car, so that's a bad aspect, is that the charger is not like in the center of the vehicle, whether the port should be in the front or in the rear. Obviously the front would be better because that way you can have access to the trunk without a cable in the middle. But ideally, like, having to park in one situation is a perfect world scenario. I don't think we're gonna ever get that, especially anywhere. Okay, let's charge this thing. There, and then we take this thing. Port 1 is available. Okay. Now it says the vehicle is charging. There we go, I hear a fan kicking in. Okay, going to work. I'll see you later. Here's my laptop, and it says it'll be fully charged at 5 o'clock basically. So versus going to the gas station to get 70 plus miles of range in 2 minutes, I have to charge this thing for 6 plus hours on a major heavy duty charge point over there, which is charge point, and costs $2 an hour. So what is that, $10 to fill it up? To go this another 50 miles more than it cost me to go $5 to fill up with gas. We'll talk about that later. I gotta go to work. Billable time. Alright, it's lunchtime, and I looked at the options they have here at the office, and it's not good, so I'm gonna go grab some Indian food. There's this great place called Masala Wok. There's also Tarka, but it's like fast food Indian. It's awesome. So time to uncharge this thing. Let's see what the charge is, though. I'm just gonna have to open car. Yeah, so we have a 41 mile range on electric, looks like, right there, and then 62 what's left on the gas tank. So at this point, I'm just going to give up hope that there's a full charge today on that charger. I'm just going to use the car. I'm not going to be a victim of my car's needs here. It's going to have to do what I need. And I'm not sure if I can take this out simply because I unlocked the car, but $3.92. Definitely seems like a total waste of money to me. But whatever. There we go. Much better. I don't know what that extra detent is for. That's a little weird. I don't know what that does. Is it like a sport mode? That's neutral. Back is reverse. There's another one for that. What is that? That's funky. Guess I'll have to RTFM again. It definitely has some pickup. In a parking lot though, I mean, no one can hear you coming. So you definitely want to be cognizant of that fact that no one's going to hear you, so they may step out in front. So luckily this parking lot is vast. It's got a lot of donut marks for some reason. I don't know why. Lunch is over. Time to head back to the office. I keep looking down at this iDrive knob as if it's the gear change selector, but it's actually up here, so reverse. One thing I do like here is it actually conserves fuel because it's running down the battery before it even starts the engine up. And that means that my fill up this morning wasn't entirely pointless. It just means that the pay point that I have for charging is outrageously expensive compared to just filling this thing with gas and letting it charge the battery. That's the gas range, just over 3/4, and just over 1/4 is the battery charge left. So a combined 92-mile range, which we know is not going to be accurate. We'll see how it goes. Of course, I will charge this when I get back to the office. Might as well. What else am I going to do? But if I had my own electric car with my own account paying for this charge, I wouldn't be doing that. I'm only doing it because BMW's paying for it. Well, that's the end of lunch. As you can see, 29 miles left on the range for electric, 58 stable on the gas range. But what's really annoying right now is I can tell you I've parked this car 3 times today, and out of those 3 times I've had to plug it in 3 times. And it's even more annoying than having a pet that you have to feed and walk and take care of all the time. I mean, I don't mind doing it for a pet, but not for a car. I mean, this is just too much work for me, personally. But I'm doing this for you. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. What else am I going to do with an i3? Maybe it'll be a full charge when I'm done with today's work. We'll see. Alright, work is done. I'm heading back to the car, and I found something interesting. It's actually posted on the ChargePoint website. They're the companies that actually own these little chargers, or they lease them out or something. But it said that on a 100-mile range car, if you charge at 110 on home, it's basically 25 hours for a full charge. I don't have that kind of time, especially when I got to use the car. So here we are. I also found out that if it's locked, because it's currently locked, you cannot pull the charge out. And this here is a status light that tells you what status it is, and that color is supposed to correspond to this or something. But when the car is locked, that won't show. When the car is unlocked, that will always flash. But if you press the lock button, you get to see the status. So you don't have to touch the car or anything other than press your lock button. And of course, if you had the app, you'd see the status right away. I'm just going to unlock it and then pull the charge point out. I guess that's how it works. And put it back. $6.23. Crazy. It's a lot of money for that kind of usage. I just said that earlier, but I want to say it again. So what did I spend today? $5.44 on gas, $6 here, and then like $4 before lunch. Time to go home. Alright, let's turn this puppy on, get some AC going. Oh, hot, very hot. Put this in drive. One thing is that the metal here in this heat is really hot. It's hot. That's all I'm going to say, it's hot. So most of it is metal here at the very top, and that's not fun to touch, I'll tell you that. But let's go home. I have a 130 mile combined range. 80 mile range on the battery, 50 mile on the gas motor extender, which isn't being used because we have to deplete this battery before that'll kick in. And I am now defaulting in comfort mode. Eco Plus is not on, Eco Pro, whatever. And there is no sport mode either. But I'm just gonna go home. I'm not gonna deviate from my path because I'm not gonna charge this at home. I'm gonna charge this tomorrow here again, and BMW is gonna pay for it because I want them to. Actually, they offered. They actually gave me the charge point thing with the key. So why not use it? Plus it's summer out here and I don't want to add to my electric bill with the charging of a car. That would take about 1.5 kilowatt hours over 25 hours. So that's 35 kilowatt hours or something like that at 9 cents a kilowatt hour at my house. So it just adds up. I'm just not going to do it. Besides, an overnight charge would only get me 30 to 40 miles, maybe. Well, I don't have a stressful day at work, but going home in something like this, the Hyatt San Jose here, it feels spacey, but my home is not like this. On these big sweeping overpasses, the handling here is not confidence inspiring at all. It's squirrely. I wouldn't even say there's body roll. It's just, whoa! I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You can be caught off guard, and then what happens, right? It's like understeer. It's too late. When you go too quick into a corner and you got understeer, better hope your seatbelt's on. That's kind of what it feels like here. But it's not understeer. I don't know what it is. It's just lack of grip. There's handling with no grip. 98 degrees in broad sunlight. It's hotter than 98. Max AC works well. It's pretty chilly in here. The way the car handles, I would never buy a new car that handles like this if it came with a gas engine, and especially if it had skinny tires like this. But because it's an electric car and it needs to be light, it needs to be certain things, and it has nice get up and go, and there is no transmission to get in the way of that acceleration, you kind of go, okay, there's some trade-off here. So I'm still working at it, and it hasn't been day 5 yet. I mean, it's still day 2. This is why I don't do reviews right off the bat. I take my time, because you may have a foregone conclusion, and we don't want that. But, you know, this is what it takes. This is how reviewing works. This is how you stay on the press circuit and give the facts. You know, it's not something I like doing, you know, reading a press release and just regurgitating that. I want to get in this. This is investigative. This is full-blown journalism, and I'm doing it properly. It's been 2 days. I haven't even synced my phone yet. I haven't Bluetoothed to it because I basically have all been worrying about the charge. So I haven't been sitting in here fiddling with the stereo yet. I've been out there fiddling with the charge. It's weird. You know, on a hot day like this, I really don't understand why the car has to have such a huge greenhouse, because there's a lot of air in here that it has to cool down, and as opposed to something like a Fiat Spider, or maybe the, you know, the Mazda Miata, or even that pickup truck, the cabin is smaller on those, and the AC cools it down quicker, and why does this need such a big cabin? I mean, there's the whole hatch in the back, there's the back seat, the front seat, and then my legs don't even extend past halfway of the dash before it gets to the window. So this huge volume of air has to be cooled down, and that requires energy. So why would they design it like that? If you know why, let me know, because I'm kind of perplexed as to how that's a good thing. If there's no sunroof, why don't they just put a solar panel up there? I mean, you got some pretty nice solar panels these days on some sailboats that do enough electricity to power a few things. Why don't they just put one up here? I don't get it. Like, wouldn't that help? I mean, I know it would add weight to the top, but isn't that sort of the point? Like, you can kind of alleviate some of the other weight, like the range extender, for instance. I don't know. Alright, I'm home. Got a battery range, so we're just gonna park it tonight and then go to work tomorrow. See ya.